Okay, let's go to page 487 and let's go and go over the review exercises. So let's go and do the evens first. So let's start with number 2. So you have the square root of 3 and you square that. So the square and square root, they are inverse of each other, so they cancel off each other. So your answer would be 3. Okay, so that's very simple. So let's go to number 4. You have square root of 64, x to the 4, y to the 6. So all this can take out the square root nicely, so you don't have to separate them. So the square root of 64 is 8. Square root of x to the 4 is x squared. And y to the 6, the square root of that is y to the 3. Okay, and that's it. Because basically all you do is just the divide by 2, right? 4 divided by 2, that's how you get 2. 6 divided by 2, because square root means there's an index of 2 that is invisible, and that's how you get that. Okay, let's go to number 6. You have square root of 36, a to the 4, b to the 2. So you can take the square root of each part. So square root of 36 is 6. Square root of a to the 4 is a to the 2. And square root of b to the 2 is b. Now you don't have to draw the arrows, but I'm just drawing the arrows to see, where each part came from. Okay, but you don't have to draw that. But I'm just do that to, to see easier for you guys to follow. Okay, let's go to 8. You have square root of 11 times square root of 11. Now these are radicands. Square root means you need to get 2 of the same radicand to make one integer. So you got 2 of the same radicand, it will make one integer. And that's it. Okay, let's go to number 10. You have square root of 50. So now you have to simplify this. Now there are 2 methods you can do this. One is by separate into perfect squares. So you can make into 25 and a 2. Okay. Don't make into 5 and 10. 5 and 10 is no good, because 5 is not a perfect square, 10 is not a perfect square. So you don't want to make into 5 and 10. You want to do 25 and 2, and so this becomes 5 square root of 2. Okay. Another method to do it is by using the L method. You do the factoring. So 50 divided by 2, you get 25, divided by 5 and 5. So 2 of the radicand, these 2 radicand make one integer, right? So these 2 radicand make one integer, and this is the leftover. So that's how I get the same answer. Okay. Now let's go to number 12. Okay, number 12, you have 4 square root of 2 minus square root of 2. So to do the subtraction, you have to have a like terms. That means you need to have the same radicands. Okay, so they do, right? So both are square root of 2, so you're good. So 4 of these minus 1 of these, you get 3 of them, right? So that will be your answer. Okay, so again, think of this as like your label, apples, right? So 4 apples minus 1 apple, you get 3 apples. Okay, so 2. Okay. Okay, let's go to number 14. You got square root of 27 minus square root of 12. So you need to simplify each one of these. So you can go off to the side, try to simplify each one of these. Again, you can use either one of this method. Okay, you can use either one of this method. So I'm going to use the factoring method. So 27 divided by 3, I get 9. Divided by 3, I get 3. Right? So 2 radicand make one integer. So these 2 radicand make one integer, and the leftover stays inside the square root. Okay? So again, these 2 make that. Now let's go and do the 12. So for the 12, I divide by 2, I get 6. Divide by 2, I get 3. Right? So again, 2 radicand make an integer. So I get 2 square root of 3. So 3 square root of 3 minus 2 square root of 3, I get 1 square root of 3. Right? And that's it. Okay, let's go to number 16. Now, when you have the fraction, you separate the top from the bottom. So you got square root of 1 over square root of 7. And then you have to simplify these. So multiply by square root of 7 over square root of 7. So that you get 2 radicands. Right? 2 radicands, just using this principle over here, right, for number 8. So 2 radicands will make an integer. So these 2 radicands make an integer, and the top would be just square root of 7. Okay, and that's it. Okay, let's go to 18. So you got square root of 9 over square root of 2. So again, you want to simplify the square root of 2. So you need to multiply by square root of 2, square root of 2, right? Again, the key is to get two radicands so you can make into an integer. So these two radicands make an integer 2. Now on the top, square root of 9 is an integer 3. And this one is a leftover, so you keep it that. And so that's it. Okay, let's go to number 20. Okay, let's go to number 20. Okay, number 20, you have square root of 54 minus, now it's a fraction, so I'm going to separate the top from the bottom. Okay, so now I need to go and simplify each part as much as I can. So square root of 54, let's go off to the side. So divide by 2, I get 27. Divide by 3, I get 9. Divide by 3, I get 3. So this would be my integer, right? So two radicands make an integer. So this would be a 3. Okay, so this would be a 3. And these are leftovers, so leftover stays inside. Right? 2 times 3 is 6, right? Minus, now this one I can do it over here. Multiply by square root of 3. Again, the key is two radicands make an integer. So these two radicands make an integer, and this will give me a square root of 6. So now I need to subtract. Now notice that this is a fraction, so I need to make it into common denominator, right? So my LCD, remember how to do subtraction? We did this before, right? You get the form first. So your LCD 1 and 3, LCD is 3, right? So this is your step 2, right? Then you have to figure out, okay, how are you going to get from here to here? You need to multiply by 3, right? That's your step 3. So this would be a 9 square root of 6. So that's your step 4. Over here, you don't have to do anything to it, so leave it alone. Okay? So now you go to step 5, right? Remember, so this is your step 4. Now step 5, you subtract. So it would be 8 square root of 6 over 3. And check, see if you can simplify. Cannot, so that's it. Okay, so again, so make sure you know how to do this. Okay, let's go to number 22. You have 5 plus square root of 2 times 5 minus square root of 2. So these are conjugates. Conjugates, you need to know how to multiply conjugate. Just multiply the matching term. So this would be a 25. Plus times minus is a minus. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is a 2. So the answer would be 23. Okay. So basically you're doing the four-year method, but the conjugate, the O and the I cancel out. So all you have is F and L. So again, you're doing the four-year method, right? So O and I cancels out because of the conjugates. So all you have is F and L. Okay, okay, now let's go to 24. You have 3 square root of 2 minus 1 square, right? So again, you have to square this, so you get 9. Square of this, you get 2. Make sure you square each part. So you square that, you get plus. Square that, you get 1. So this is the F and this is the L, right? But you need to get the O and the I. Right? Remember the four-year method? You need to get O and the I, so don't forget your O and the I. So because of square, your O and I will be the same. So you're going to get 2 of these. Okay? So the sign, so when you multiply, you do the sign, number, and the alphabet. Right? The sign is negative. Right? See the negative? The number is 2 times 1 times 3 will give you 6. And the square root is 2, square root of 2. Okay? So again, don't forget your O and the I, the inside. So now you simplify. So 9 times 2 is 18 plus 1 is 19. And so that's it. Okay, so again, 18 plus 1 is 19.
Ada Wang to the admissions office, please. Ada Wang to the admissions office.
Okay, let's go to number 26. Okay, number 26. You have 6 over 2 plus square root of 5. So now, again, you need to get rid of the square root on the bottom. But because there are 2 terms, you need to multiply by 2 terms. So don't multiply by square root of 5. It's not going to work. Okay? Because there are 2 terms, so you need to multiply by the conjugate. Now when you multiply by conjugate, don't multiply on the top because you're going to end up with a mess and you're going to get stuck. You always do the bottom first. So conjugate, so this is 4 minus 5, and on the top you get 6 times 2 minus square root of 5. And so this will give you a negative 1. So this will equal to, so 4 minus 5 is negative 1, and you can move the negative to the top, right? So it becomes negative 6 times 2 minus square root of 5. Right, again, 4 minus 5 is negative 1, and negative 1 you move it to the top. So that's how I get a negative 6 from. Then after that, this is when you're going to start to multiply. So don't multiply out over here. Okay, you wait until you get all done with the bottom, then you multiply out. So you're going to get negative 12 plus 6 square root of 5. And that's it. Okay, let's go to 28. So this is a radical equation. So the variable is inside the square root. So this is called a radical equation. So the way to do that is you square both sides, right? So I'm going to keep the original so I can use it to check my answers. So you check your answers when you have to square something to get rid of the square root. Okay? So over here you don't have to worry about checking. So you square both sides. So square and square root cancel out. And this square I get 36. So divide by 3, divide by 3. So A equal to 12. Then I'm going to check. Okay. So it checks out. So that's good. So that's my answer. Okay. Let's go to number 30. Okay, you have square root of 5a minus 4 equal to square root of 3a plus 2. Okay, so I'm going to write this again so I can preserve my original. Okay, so I'm going to focus on this one. To undo the square root, I need to square that. Now, since I squared this side, I need to square this side too. Now, in this case, it's kind of nice because you get rid of both square root at the same time. So that's kind of nice. So you got 5a minus 4 equal to 3a plus 2. Right? Again, square and square root cancel out. So go ahead and solve. Minus 3a on both sides. So this cancels out. Then I'm going to plus 4. So this cancels out. So I get 2a equal to 6. Divide by 2. Divide by 2. So a equal to 3. So I'm going to check my answers. So I get square root of 5 times 3 minus 4 equal to square root of 3 times 3 plus 2. So I get square root of 15 minus 4 equal to square root of 9 plus 2. So 11, so it checks out. Okay, so that's okay, let's go to number 32. I have square root of 9x minus 8 equal to x. So again, I'm going to save the original so I can use it to check my answers. So I'm going to square both sides. So this cancels out. So I get 9x minus 8. This one get x squared. Now, because of x squared, I know that I need to do factoring. So I'm going to move everything to the right hand side. So minus 9x minus 9x. So this cancels out. So plus 8 plus 8. So this cancels out. So I got 0 equal to x squared minus 9x plus 8. So do the factoring. Step 1, common factor cannot. Step 2, special factor cannot. Step 3, cubes, no. Step 4, master product. So I get negative 1 and negative 8. So that's good. Okay. So again, all these are just steps. You just go through the steps. Okay. So this one be minus 1, minus 8. So x equal to 1, x equal to 8. Okay, now I'm going to go check my answers now. So I'm going to check the 1 first. So 9 times 1 minus 8 equal to 1. So square root of 1 equal to 1. It checks out. So this one is good. Now let's go and do the 8. So square root of 9 times 8 minus 8 equal to 8. So I get square root of 72 minus 8 equal to 8. So I got square root of 64 equal to 8. So it checks out. So this one is good too. Okay, let's go to number 34. Okay, square root of 3x plus 1 equal to square root of x plus 8 minus 1. So again, I'm going to leave the original alone so I can use it to check my answer. So I'm going to write this one more time. So I'm going to undo this square root first. So square both sides. So this square and square root cancel out. So this one I need to go and square this, so I get x plus 8. I'm going to square this, so this is plus, square that, that is 1. And I need to multiply all this together, so it be minus 2 square root of x plus 8. Remember, this is your for your method, right? Right, so remember your O and I. A lot of people kind of forget this and they only have the beginning and the end. So if you write out a FOIL, it helps you remember that you need to have the middle term. Okay, so now I need to isolate this square root again. So I'm going to minus x on both sides so that this will cancel out. I have a plus 8 and plus 1, so I need to minus 9 on both sides. So it will cancel out that and that. Okay. So I get 2x minus 8 equal to negative 2 times square root of x plus 8. Now, you always try to get rid of this number if you can. Lower this number as much as you can. It will, make things a little bit easier, or else the thing's going to get too messy. So I'm going to divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. So I get x minus 4 equal to negative square root of x plus 8. Then I'm going to square both sides. So I square that, I get x squared. I square that, I get plus. I square this, I get 16. And I need to multiply all this together, so it'd be minus 8x, right? Again, that's my FOIL, right? My FOIL method. Again, make sure you remember this. A lot of people will just do that and end up with F and L only, and you're missing this part. So if you remember your FOIL method, it will help you to remember that you need to have an O and an I in the middle. Okay, so I square this, I get positive, which is don't do anything. And square root cancel out, so I just have the x plus 8. So now I have an x squared. Right away, that's your clue. You need to make it equal to 0 to do the factoring. So minus x on both sides, minus 8 on both sides. So I get x squared minus 9x plus 8 equal to 0. And again, do your factoring. So I need to have a negative 1, negative 8. Okay, very similar to what we had before. So I get minus 1, minus 8. So I get x equal to 1, x equal to 8. Okay. Now again, notice it's very similar to the last one, right? Right? But you got to check your answers. Like in this one over here, again, you got 1 and 8. I see same, right? But this one both are good. But let's see what happened to this one here. Let's go back and check. So square root of 3 times, I'm going to check the 1 first. So use the original to substitute and you work it out. So you got square root of 4 equal to square root of 9 minus 1. So I get 2 equal to 3 minus 1. So it checks. So this one is good. Now let's go and check the next one, the 8. So you got square root of 3 times 8 plus 1 equal to square root of 8 plus 8 minus 1. So you got square root of 25 equal to square root of 16 minus 1. So I get 5 equal to 4 minus 1. No good. So this one is no good. Okay, so only one that's good is 1. Okay.